I wouldn't be up right now if it wasn't for you.
The Who Do You Think You Are podcast is sponsored by Good Trip Inc. It's a super dope gallery with a super dope artist that owns it. Black owned, 416 South McDowell Street, downtown Raleigh. Y'all come through, check him out. Tell him that SP the Writer sent you.
Owner of Good Trip Tattoo and Art. My passion is creating art, and there's no better feeling than seeing a happy client.
If you get up by 6 and you working by 3, you done had a full day.
Nah, for real.
Look, take a nap, take a 2-hour nap, and back at it until 1 in the morning. It's on point.
It's like, first of all, I got so many things. Now that I'm up, because first of all, the hardest part of my morning sometimes.
Putting the feet on the floor.
Yeah, because even this morning, I'm like, all right, I set an alarm. I can't back out.
Right.
I set an alarm, so the alarm goes off. I'm like, shit, mind you, I was out last night.
Right.
You feel me? So I'm out. So I don't get into like, or even in the bed till like 3,
4, yeah.
3, 4, you feel me? So I'm like, all right, dang. I gotta wake up in like 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can do it.
Right.
In the back of my head, I'm like,
Cause look, when I woke up this morning and I looked and I went to your page, I seen it was like it said you had been online 3 hours ago.
yeah.
I was like, oh, I don't know if he gonna make it. I'm like, I'm gonna go get this Waffle House anyway though.
Yo, and then look, it's so funny because when you had sent me that behind you, like I had just fought the fight. You know what I mean? Because mind you, when I woke up, I actually ended up going. I started to go back, so I'm like, all right. So I got up. I was like, all right, fuck. I got like this amount of time. Right. I'm like, but then I'm like, I got this amount of time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I go 15 minutes up because I set an alarm for 15 minutes from. I'm like 15 minutes. I'm gonna be just right 15 minutes. But the problem is, every time we do that, we know exactly how much sleep we need.
Exactly.
And that ain't it.
That ain't it.
That ain't it. You know what I'm
That
saying?
ain't
Because
it.
you're gonna wake up the same way you just woke up. You're gonna wake up the same because you're still gonna be tired.
Yep.
So I try to set the alarm, and this is what happened, and this is what normally doesn't happen. How I knew that I was supposed to be here. You know what I mean? So this is me going back to sleep, where I got my hand in my phone after I set the alarm.
Right.
I'm like, all right, boom, I'm gonna wake up in 15 minutes. So then I find myself falling asleep. I got my hand in my phone. I want to sleep. And my phone drops and hits the floor. I'm like, all right, I gotta wake up.
Right. Because it's about to be a wrap.
Yeah, it's about to be a wrap. Because if I wasn't that tired, I would have put my phone down and nah, I'm about to be out, and then I'll be waking up at like 9, so I'll be like, damn, bro.
Right.
Hey.
I'm like, man, this dude a flake, yo.
Yo, for real, man.
Yeah.
And that's the cycle that we as people have to break. We have to break, not commit. Like when we say we're gonna do something, do exactly what we say we're gonna do. Because I've noticed a lot in the industry, everyone wants to look like they've done it or look like they know it instead of actually doing it or actually knowing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where we fall into the trap. It's a trap. It's a lot of somebodies that are actually nobodies, but we believe that they're somebody because of what they say.
Right, and what they look like on the outside.
What they look like, exactly.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Whereas though you got people like my guy, is it Good Ink?
Good Trip.
Good Trip, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He actually doing it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going, y'all gotta pull up to see this type of art, man. Like this is crazy. Like look at the back. Y'all see the back? He did all of this, you know what I'm saying? So it's a difference from people that say they doing these things,
right,
and that are actually doing it. And it's like, I don't gotta say much. You see what's going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So big shout out to Good Trip.
Right. It's crazy because when me and him met, and then kind of afterwards, we talked about it. Like, when I said, hey, man, I want to shoot a podcast, and he gave me the go, to do it here, I was like, all right, time clock on. Because I ain't want it to be 3-4 months. And he like, yo, brother, I thought,
I thought you was, yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Then he like, he was just BSing or whatever. So within, what was it, Trip, about 3 weeks maybe? Yeah, I was in here with the cameras and the
Well,
lights.
ready.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
the best presentation for your brand, for real, just being consistent.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
it. So man, look, I'm a poet, silent
Right,
poet
right.
at that, right? And
Can I
so
hear some bars? Is that too much to ask for? Can I hear a little?
silent poet.
Silent. What does that mean? You whisper.
Nah, I don't even perform my own work.
What does that mean?
So-
like you write it.
I write, and so the show that me and Crystal have together, Inspired, other people come perform what I wrote.
Shout out to Crystal the Muse.
Shout out to Crystal the Muse. They come perform what I wrote.
Oh, that's dope.
So yeah, I don't even touch the stage in that sense. I just curate.
Like a ghostwriter.
Except for everybody know I'm the ghost.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's dope.
yeah.
That's
So
dope.
that's me, but we here, man. We trying to figure out who do you think you are?
Me? Who do I think I am? You know what? That's a good question. It's something I've been trying to figure out myself. You know what I mean? This year of 2021 has been an eye-opener. I'm a completely different person than I was last year and the year before that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to figure out who is Partyboy today. You know what I mean? And to my knowledge, he is someone that is more seeking the truth of who I am. So that is a question that is yet to be answered. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this. I'm from Baltimore City.
Baltimore.
I had to put on for my city today, you know what I mean? He said, let's have a talk. I said, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, you know what I mean? So I had to put on for my city, 410, you know what I mean? West Baltimore City.
Okay,
Born
West
and
Baltimore.
raised. Yes, West Baltimore City, Poplar Grove and Elgin. Shout out to my city, man. You know what I mean? I rep that to the death of me, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that just because it's semi, that doesn't mean I have to wear it everywhere I go. Because anyone that knows about Baltimore knows that it's a hard city. It's a fast city.
Right.
I wouldn't say as fast as New York because New York is more fast paced than everybody.
Because there's so many more people.
Yeah, it's a lot more people. But Baltimore is a small city, but it's a fast city. Things happen fast.
Yeah.
Fast, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's bad because I don't want to get too deep in it, but it's
Let's get deep. Because I remember the first time I rode through West Baltimore.
How was that for you?
It was eye-opening.
Yeah. Did you run to the Squeegee Boys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely. But it was crazy because, so I grew up in a real small town, one stoplight town. So,
Oh, dang.
yeah, like to this day. And so, you know, Raleigh to me when I was growing up was big. And so then I started going to Baltimore. I'm 38 now. I was probably late 20s the first time I really went to Baltimore. And me and my homeboy was like, because we was over on the harbor area, you know what I'm saying? We was like, yo, we're going to ride through West Baltimore. We keep hearing about it.
Oh, man.
And so we rode through and we just driving like, yo.
It's real.
Right. And so I'm sitting here in my mind because I never seen The Wire. Don't hurt me.
Oh, man. First of all, you ain't seen The Wire. I lived there.
Right.
You know what's crazy? Because people pick on me all the time because it was just like, I'm not a trendy person.
Right.
You know what I mean? I hate trends. I like to set trends or just be the person that like, if I like something, I like it because I like it. I don't like it because you like it. You know what I mean? So, no, I never saw The Wire either.
Okay. But you lived it though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was crazy to me because I'm hearing about The Wire, but never seen it. And then I'm hearing about that, but I had never physically with my own two eyes seen what I was riding through. And so it immediately like took me like, man, like if I grew up here, like how would I be? Like based off of the characteristics that I have now, my mindset that I have now, if I had grown up in this type of environment, like who would I be?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
everything changes. Environment changes you.
Yeah.
You just try not to be a product of your environment, really, but the environment to be a product of you. You know what I'm saying?
So talk to me about growing up in Baltimore. I mean, like, you know, we know West Baltimore is rough.
Yeah.
So we hear a lot in movies where they be like, yo, man, you know, I'm just trying to make it out the hood. I'm trying to make it to 21. Like,
that's real.
That's real?
That's real. That is the realest thing someone could say that. That's what something I was about to get into. I was like, I don't want to get into it too deep. Reason being, I lost a lot of friends growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, So that's tough. You got to learn. That's why I don't really connect to people like that. You know what I mean? There's some exclusive stuff y'all don't really know. I'm gonna share with y'all. I'm an introvert for a reason. I don't like to get close to people. You know what I mean? And I told my homeboy this not too long ago, and he said, "Dang, that's kind of harsh or whatever." But I was just like, what I had told him was, that's why I don't really talk to old people like that, because they could be here today and gone tomorrow. He said, "Well, that's kind of harsh."
Wow.
It was like, I'm like, yeah, but it's crazy because, you know what I mean, every now and, like, mind you lose a grandmother, it's going to hurt you.
Right.
Why? Because they've been in your life.
For a
your
long
entire
time.
life, they've been in your life a very long time. Regardless, you're a baby, you're growing up, so you've seen this person all through your life, and now they're just poof, gone. You know what I mean? So, and it's not even just old people.
Right.
Honestly, I like old people a lot. You know what I mean? Elderly people, excuse me. You know what I mean? I like them, but I try not to get so connected to folk. You know what I mean? Because if I get too connected a lot of time, I'm afraid to be hurt emotionally. You know what I mean? To where as though I have to deal with that loss at that point.
I never thought about it from that perspective. Like, I mean, I've lost both of my grandmothers. My first grandmother that I lost, I was like 19. And so that one was like crushing, you know what I mean?
Right.
But then I kind of had a different mindset about death moving forward kind of after that. So by the time I lost my second grandmother, it wasn't
The same.
It wasn't the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I miss her, but I was able to cope with it
Exactly.
a lot better. But I never thought about it from the perspective of like purposefully not getting close to certain people, elderly or not, because in a split second, they could be gone.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Man.
mind you, rest in peace to my great grandmother Mary. You know what I mean? She just passed 2 weeks ago.
Wow,
Maybe not
sorry to
even-
hear that.
Was it 2 weeks? Maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks
Okay.
ago, because her funeral was last week. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it still hasn't really processed. You know what I mean? Why? Because I have this thing where as though I'm numb. I've lost a lot of people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes I don't think about it, sometimes I be in denial, sometimes I just be like, it happens. You know what I
Right.
mean? Until I'm in a room with other people that know this person.
Right.
And I'm just like,
It's
damn.
heavier then.
Yeah, it's heavier, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I just keep going because at any moment, you know what I mean, it could be mine. It could be my time, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I move as if tomorrow is not promised, you know what I mean? And all I can do is have tunnel vision.
All right. So did you go to the funeral?
Nope.
Nope.
But
Do you go to funerals?
nope,
Me neither.
I don't.
When was the last time you been to one?
I think my pastor, because growing up, mind you, this is an exclusive interview. Y'all gonna get some things about me y'all don't know, and I won't share unless we actually talk about it. But I'm Catholic, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I grew up in the church and everything. So I went to a black Catholic church, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Because I like that family feel, that you know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? All that. I like that, you know what I mean? So that was our pastor growing up, you know what I mean? And he was just like a big part of the church family, you know what I mean? Like he
Right.
brought everyone together. So when he just abruptly passed, that was the last funeral I went to, because I'm just like, yo, this person that's always so full of energy, telling jokes,
Right.
everything, he's like laying right here and he's like motionless.
Right.
Like, I'm like, what?
Crazy. How long ago was that?
That was a long time ago.
Is there anybody that could pass now whose funeral you would go to, or you just?
Oh yeah, if it was, God forbid, but anybody that honestly, I don't know. That's a good question, because and that's a matter of fact, that's not the last funeral I went to. I went to another funeral for a good friend of mine, and her mother passed away. You know what I mean? And when that happened, I just seen how a human can just break down and just really break down and just not be able to control
Right.
that emotion, like can't control it.
So
Like,
you were there in a big supportive role.
yeah, and I was just like uncomfortable.
And see, that's my fight, because I said I would never. So one of my homeboys got shot and killed when we were 23. Now, 15 years ago, that was the last time I went to a funeral. I helped carry his casket, and I remember one of my friends, I won't say his name, but he was at the head of his casket, and as the people were coming out, to view the body, he just like doodling in my man's hair. And I'm just like looking like, like, what is he doing? But he's coping the best he can, you know what I mean? But after that, I was like, I'm done. I've never been to another funeral. And I fight with that because, and I'm not married or engaged or anything, but if I ever did get married, then more than likely whoever I'm married to is not going to have the same view on, you know, paying your respects, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can I be there in a supportive role like that, or am I going, for my own sanity, like, nah, I can't be there.
Bro, like, it does something to you. You gotta realize this is a temporary place, and we are reminded of it every now and so often. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's wild, man. I hadn't even, like I said, from that perspective, I hadn't even thought about that. So you said pretty early on when we first started talking, you're not the same person now that you were last year or the year before that. What's the biggest difference from Partyboy 3 years ago to Partyboy now?
Maturity and understanding.
Maturity and understanding. What do you understand more now that you didn't understand then?
My ways, how I can be, you know what I mean? Like, even the industry in general, like, a lot of time we go into this where...
it said...
Yeah, I might have to call him back.
Oh, yeah, it's all good.
But, yeah, man, like, man, in the industry, I feel like I learn people all the time. Like, I'm really into biology. Like,
Okay.
I'm really into biology, and I learn
Like my homeboy.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I read human behavior so I can understand
Right.
why people do certain things. And a lot of time I put things to the test to see, well, how would this go if I do this?
Right.
Or how would this go if I trust this person to do that?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's you get different results every time, but sometimes it all boils down to the same thing, that we aren't perfect.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just bottom line.
Are you a perfectionist?
No. Ah, shit, yeah. I try to be. I thought you was about to ask me, are you perfect? I was about to say, hell no. Hell no, but I strive to be. And that's my problem a lot of time. Like, if I can't do it perfectly, I would just don't want to do it. Because I'm just like, it was so bad that when you said that, because the first time I ever heard the word perfectionist is back when I was in Baltimore and I was growing up, and I used to cut grass to get some money. I was young, you feel me, like 14, but I had always been a hustler. I always been getting to it, like trying to get some money in my own pocket so I could do this or do that. So I used to cut grass for the whole neighborhood, shoveling snow when it snowed. You know what I mean? So I would like, you know what I mean? And my dad's a hustler, so he got that. He instilled that into me. So I'm walking around with the lawnmower. Of course, he bought the lawnmower, on around, needs grass, so I'm cutting grass and everything. So I noticed that I was a perfectionist when I started grabbing a small thing of scissors and cutting the edges.
Oh, you was
see
as a
line?
scissor hands out there,
I'm cutting the edges, and I'm like angling. I'm like, yo, it's grass. Like,
Right.
But it's people that do it on a professional level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And they make sculptures out of that joint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's when I first noticed I was perfectionist. So I think my mom came out there. She said, boy, is you on the ground cutting that?
That's crazy. So you just said something that made me think. So, you know, because we always assume certain things based off of what people say to us or where somebody's from, things of that nature. And so I didn't realize that subconsciously I thought that you didn't have your dad in your life because you were from West Baltimore.
Nope. You know what's so crazy about that? It's funny that you said that, but continue. Oh.
Nah, go ahead.
Oh,
I ain't gonna forget my thoughts.
So it's funny you said that, right? Because that is 90% true. A lot of youth in Baltimore are without fathers. You know what I mean? A lot.
Right.
The vast majority. And when I say youth, normally, I mean, it's girls and guys, you know what I mean? But a big reason why I received a lot of envy growing up is because I did have a dad that was from the streets, to where as though normally if your dad from the streets, he ain't with your mom.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's out here doing what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might know him, you might not. He might be dead. He might, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Or he might live down the road.
He might live down the road, just don't fuck with your ass.
Right.
Or
Right.
You never know. Like, you feel me? So, growing up, I received a lot of indirect envy. You know what I mean? That's why I got into a lot of situations, because they'd be like, well, you got your father, you got your father. I'm like, Like, I mean, yeah, but
That
I
ain't-
didn't realize how big of a deal that actually was. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean?
When did you realize how big of a deal that was?
Oh man, I think it's this one situation I want to talk about, but it's like I don't know, like it's so many different situations. But I'm gonna talk about a situation he love to bring up. I got into a whole situation like in my old neighborhood, and it just resulted in maybe life or death.
Right.
You feel me? Because guns came out.
Right.
But my dad, he been from the streets, you know what I'm saying? So he was there to kind of like undead the situation to a
Right.
certain extent, you know what I mean? And it was crazy, but at that point I'm like, damn, yo, it could have went any which way, but it went this way.
Right. Because of your dad.
Yeah. So big shouts out to him if you on here. I appreciate you.
Word.
You know what I mean? But it was crazy though. It was crazy. Like
That's wild. Even me, like I said, and I didn't realize it subconsciously. I just automatically assumed like, okay, because you said something about you know your dad, and I'm like, his dad. But we've been so conditioned by just what it is, you know what I'm saying, in the
In
world,
society.
and then thinking because I got all these images in my head of West Baltimore and what I've seen, the negative side of it, that I'm over here like, yeah, like okay, yeah, so
oh, it's a beauty to it. Did you get anything to eat?
yes. Listen, the only thing I tell people when I go to Baltimore is the crab cakes and the casinos for me.
I ain't never been to. I have never gambled. I have never gambled. You know what I mean? And the opportunity to gamble was always there. I never gambled. I don't like wasting money.
Yeah. See, I don't like wasting money neither. I'm real frugal. But if I feel like I can make some money, then to me,
Risk and reward.
it's an investment. But like I don't do roulette and craps. I play poker because I got a lot more control over what happens at the poker table than I do with the ball landing on number 17. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's a little more calculated when I do decide to gamble in that particular way. Anyway.
You said you had got crab cakes. Man, you went the right route. You want seafood. You did.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you can't beat that.
You
Like,
can't.
You can't beat that.
There's no better crab cakes that I've ever had outside of Baltimore. Now I have had some decent ones. You know what I'm saying? I've been to Ruth Chris and had they join
They joints alright.
but it ain't nothing like getting crab cakes from Baltimore.
Nah, bro. It ain't like getting a lot of food from Baltimore. I still have yet to a cheesesteak to challenge the cheesesteak from back
Even
home.
from Philly?
Man, what? Nah, look, I ain't been to Philly, but people
Okay.
done told me that depending on where you go, it ain't even all that. You know what I'm saying? I've been in conversations where people say we got the best cheesesteaks. I'm like, huh?
That's a tough one. I mean,
But it's up north. You know, that generically that is just it's a whole thing. Like
Right.
first of all, meat is cheaper
right.
up north. They are very.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they are very frugal with how much they put on your meals down here. Unless you go to like American Deli or whatever.
Right.
But have you ever seen like me? I like my cheesesteaks and stuff. I like it stuffed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like to where meat falling out.
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
got right. You gotta get it.
I gotta wipe my hands every 5 minutes. Damn, that was good. Go back
Right.
in. Like that's how it's supposed to be in my point of view.
Why you think that is?
What? Why they?
Why they put less meat?
Oh, because they trying to save money. They being frugal. You know what I mean?
So why up north are they not trying to save money?
It's more, I think, because I feel like the cost of meat is cheaper, and they more just want you to have the entire. I don't know. I just.
It's just like I'm just glad that that's what they do, right?
That's what y'all motherfucking do, you
Right.
know? Because I even be like, you put a little bit more extra meat, $17.50. What? No, I don't want that. I don't want to pay extra just for you to put a little bit. This is the price you got posted right here.
Right.
So give me a decent sized cheesesteak.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So all right, so Baltimore. So when did you leave Baltimore?
When did I leave Baltimore? I left Baltimore maybe what was that? Was it 2016? 2016, end of 2015,
Okay.
beginning of 2016.
And you came straight to Raleigh?
No.
No.
Raleigh is new to me. Raleigh is, that's why I say I'm a completely different person than I was last year.
Dang, all right, so where'd you move to from Baltimore?
All right, so it's a whole story to me moving to Baltimore.
Let's hear it.
All right, boom. So, when I first moved to Baltimore, I'm gonna give y'all a little humble insight on me. I went to Morgan State University.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I was in school and everything, but I'm gonna dial it back a little bit to the conversation we just had, me having my father in my life.
Right.
Majority of my entire life. So leading up to 2015, my parents divorced.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They split. So my mom came to North Carolina. My dad stayed in Baltimore. This makes a very, very, very unstable environment for me. Why?
Okay.
Because if it's something you've been growing up knowing your entire life, and all of a sudden it's now no longer that.
Right. It's almost a death.
In a sense.
Right.
It was. You know what I'm saying? So my ability to get close to people changed. The way that I was in relationships changed. You know why? Because first I was thinking my goal in relationships was, I'm gonna have something like my mom and my dad. You know what I mean?
And so that was the bar. And then when the bar came down.
It came down now. It's like, I don't know, what is love? Is love a thing? Is that real? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? So all my life, that's been the example I had been looking at.
Right.
Continuously, just looking at it like, all right, that's exactly how it's supposed to be right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So after that, I did not do the relationship thing for a long time. You know what I mean? I went through a lot. So basically, like, it being that unstable environment, I didn't want to be around it. Even if my dad was in Baltimore, I didn't want to be around it because it would be a constant reminder. Things are not what they used to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was just like very distant to both. I was distant. I was in my own world. And mind you, this last year that I was in Baltimore, I was denied housing or I didn't make housing. You know what I mean? So at that point, I'm still trying to be in school and take classes, but I don't really got nowhere to stay. I ain't got no, I had somewhere to stay. I could stay with my dad, but we was deeper in the hood then after the divorce than we was before that because we ended up moving.
Right.
Or not we, he ended up moving, and he ended up moving to even the deeper trenches of Park Heights. You know what I'm saying? Park Heights, 12 o'clock boys. Y'all know, you feel me? Check out the movie. It's on Prime Video. I mean, they need to pay me for this.
Right.
Shameless
plug, right?
But yeah, so at that point, I'm just like, all right, that'll do no good for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, boom, I'm going to figure this out. And not only that, I'm just like, I just don't want to be around it. Because at that point, he's going through his own things where he's trying to find little, like a drug, almost, not a drug.
Yeah, he's just trying, right.
A fulfillment of some sort, but not drugs, literally.
Right.
But like fulfillment a lot of
Cause
times.
it's a hole there.
Yeah, it's a hole there.
Yeah.
So you think I'm comfortable seeing my dad with other women or him just making it like it's okay? Nigga, no, it's not okay. You tweaking, you feel me? And I just didn't, it happened about 2 or 3 times and he just make it seem like it's just, all right, this is exactly, like basically this is exactly what you was doing, which led to what, you know what I mean? And
So did you see the marriage unraveling? Or was it a surprise to you?
It was more of a surprise, but slowly, yes. Slowly, yes, because, you know what I mean, he had his little disappearances or whatever. You feel me? But, yeah, I slowly seen it unraveling, you know what I'm saying? But that was the main thing. When I started seeing him just bringing another woman in the house, like that was supposed to be okay, like that was supposed to be something I'm just like, yeah, you fucking bitch.
Right.
Like, no, my God, like you're doing, you are traumatizing me without even knowing what you're doing.
Right.
You feel me? So I just completely separated myself because I'm like, this isn't healthy for me.
Right.
So, boom, I was denied housing. So at that point, I'm a homeless college student.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, not only was I avoiding him seeking women for fulfillment, but I end up inevitably doing the same thing
Right.
on the worst scale, because now I gotta sleep with these women so I know that I have a place to stay or lay my head that
Wow.
night. You know what I mean? And mind you, I was already party boy at that time. Party boy really started at Morgan State University.
Okay. And I was
You know
gonna
what I'm
ask
saying?
that too.
Yeah,
So
just-
you was throwing the college party.
Yeah, I had a nice little list.
Right.
Of, you know what I mean? So I was okay to a certain extent, but mentally I was not. You know what I mean? I was just doing what it was that needed to be done to get to where I needed to go.
Let me ask you this before you continue. Did you care about how the women perceived you, whose couches or beds you were sleeping in, because you needed to? Did that register with you? Like, okay, do they know that this is why I'm da da da, or did it not matter at all?
Well, nope.
No.
I didn't. You know what I mean? It was more like, y'all know what I do. Y'all, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm sitting here committing to you
Right.
or anything like that. But nah, it didn't. I don't think it did.
Got you. Okay. Cool. And so how long were you homeless before you were able to transition?
Before I was able to transition, maybe it wasn't that long. You know what I mean? I didn't have housing my entire second semester though.
Gotcha.
But I would say that that was a little bit over exaggerated. Why? Because I actually had a consistent place, kinda sorta. It was me and
Right.
my homeboys had like an off-campus apartment.
Okay.
But my name wasn't on the lease. I don't know if you've ever been in that
Listen,
type of situation.
right, 'cause if your
It's
name ain't on the lease,
you
bro.
live here,
But you don't.
You don't really live here. Like,
Right.
it take about one argument.
That's it, and it's over.
Bro, I don't know what you're gonna do.
Right.
You feel me? So that's what it was. So
Gotcha.
so disclaimer, I'm sorry, babe, but the woman was more of a backup plan. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's what that was. It wasn't like, oh damn shit, I gotta that was more of a backup plan. You know,
Gotcha.
for real, I had one chick that I was kind of sort of in and out with. You feel
Okay.
me? To where it's all right, like if she bullshit, all right, then, you know what I
Right.
mean? But
Cause you gotta cover your bases.
yeah, cover my bases, you feel me? So after a while, I got tired of that because I ended up just getting into the wrong things, and it just became a cycle. Smoking too much, you know what I mean? Doing this, doing that to make this. It was just, it was draining. It was
Right.
draining. It felt like a sinkhole. Like I was just going deeper and deeper, sinking deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm like, dang, what's gonna get? Am I gonna get arrested? Am I gonna get, child or anything like that? Like, you feel me? What is gonna give for me to get out of whatever this is? You know what I mean?
Right.
I was literally high every day. Every day. It was like I was escaping my reality every day. And there was one event that I had one night, and it was actually a pretty big event. You know what I mean? Because I still do, but I used to work with DTLR
Okay.
corporate a lot back then. You know what I mean? So I would just be helping with certain things. Shout out to the Keenan system. You know what I mean? That's my mentor basically.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't have many mentors because I don't connect. To
Right.
people. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Makes sense.
So, but shout out to him because he is a big part of why I am the way I am today. He's putting that work ethic in me even more.
Right.
So it was one big event. It was a big event. It's a big event. Rest in peace, little Scooter. It was an event for Scooter. You know what I mean? Actually, Scooter is one of the most legendary people from Baltimore City. You can't really go to Baltimore without seeing one of these. How you see Nipsey Hussle for
Right.
Crenshaw? It would be Lil Scooter, Baltimore.
Okay.
It was him.
And
He
who
was
and what Lil Scooter do? Like who
he
was
a
Lil
rapper.
Scooter? Okay.
He was a rapper, the rapper. I think I got the bird flu. I'm tired of selling packs. I think I need a bird or two.
Okay.
Achoo! I think I got the bird flu. That was Lil Scooter, you know what I'm saying? So he really set a tone for the whole city, motivating the entire city. But it was an event for him, and it was at Shake and Bake, and I just really mentally had a breakdown. Like mentally broke down. Like I'm like this. Like mind you, I was so used to being, you know what I mean, high and shit. So I'm just like, but I just was stuck one night. I was just like we got all this stuff to do, and every now and then I'm just like,
Zoned out.
yo, party boy, you good? Yeah, why you ask me that? You know what I mean? I'm like. But
Everybody else seeing it though.
But it's like my body was heavy. Like I was just like, almost like I was internalizing everything that's actually going on and where I was at. And at that point, I knew I had to get away. I had to do something else. Something else. I don't know what it is.
So that was that moment.
That was that moment.
And so then from there, you decided to leave Baltimore. No,
not from that moment exactly, because honestly, I didn't have an out. I didn't have an out at first, or at least I didn't think I had an out until Christmas came around. Christmas. Till Christmas came around. My mom ended up coming back in town. Now, mind you, you know, she had my two brothers with her down there in North Carolina because they needed something new too. Right. I seen what it had did for them. You know what I mean? They came back with a different energy. It was just a different energy. Growing up in Baltimore, a lot of times people don't get out the city.
Yeah, it's surprising when you say you never been to Philly.
Yeah. I probably had been to Philly one time, but have I had a Philly cheesesteak?
Right.
No, I need one. And because back then, I never liked cheesesteaks. I didn't like a lot of stuff. I'm a picky eater.
Gotcha.
You feel me? So I'm still working on that to this day. That's another reason why I say I'm not the same person I was last year. Why? This year I like green peppers. You feel me? They gotta be sauteed though.
Gotta be sauteed,
gotta
okay.
Be sauteed, but they are delicious. Delicious.
He's like, I didn't eat those 2 years ago.
Yeah, you feel me? So, damn.
So you say your mom came up, brought your brothers.
Yeah, they brought them down. I'm just like, y'all niggas acting different. Y'all acting as it did. You know, I'm so in this,
Right.
And they just like, I was like, what?
Right.
So
but you recognize that.
I recognize it, you know what I'm saying? So they're like, you know what I mean? Because she sees, of course, like, I think my mom is probably one of the biggest readers of my energy to where as though she can just, like, that, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean?
Right.
So she's just like, hey, look, if you need to come down for a little bit, maybe a week or something like that, just to clear your mind or whatever.
Right.
You know, my first response is, nah, I'm good.
Of course.
You feel me?
But then you thought about it.
I know, this is when I think about it. I go back home. This is around, they still in town. Okay. But, you know, it's the Christmas holiday, so they're in town for, like, the weekend or the week or whatever. So I end up getting into a situation. I go back home or home where I'm not on the lease. You know what I mean?
Right.
You feel me? And then, you know what I mean? We get into a whole situation. It's ironic that it's happening at this time. You know what I mean? Like I'm telling you, a whole situation.
It was pushing you out.
Yeah, like,
it's pushing you out.
Literally in the sense of what you just said, pushing me out. When I say this after the situation, we getting into it and all that, I come back after I'm chilling with whoever I was with and stuff, and I come back and literally my bag is on the doorstep. My bag with my belongings in it is on the doorstep.
Wow.
These are friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm just like, nah. I'm like, for real? Like, and you expect me to kiss your ass.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? Cool. So the person I was like, hey, can you drop me off at this place? You know what I mean? And I think that was one of the last favors I ever asked of anyone. You know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? They looked out and they went on and they dropped me off at my grandmother's house.
Okay.
You know what I mean, not the one I passed, but my other grandmother, you know what I'm saying? But dropped me off there, and at that point it was just like, look, I'm coming with y'all. And it was just about this. By this time, it was like early in the morning almost.
They about to roll out.
Yeah, they literally was packing the car, about to go. Like literally, like packing the car, about to. If I came an hour, 3 hours later, or whatever,
you'd have missed it.
It'd just been. It'd be like, I figure it out.
The universe was like, yo, it's time for you to go ahead.
I threw my bag right in that motherfucker.
Right, because you already packed.
Yep, belongings. Where? This bag is me at this point. You know what I mean? This bag is me. Any other stuff that I may or may not need, I'll come back periodically and get them. But this bag is literally my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is my 7 outfits maybe.
Right.
You feel me? So any other stuff is just like, I don't need it. I will figure the rest out. Mm-hmm. So it was all up from there. I mean, came to North Carolina and here I am.
Word. So, all right, so you get to Carolina, and you came to Raleigh, right?
Nope.
No, where you?
Durham.
Durham.
Peoples were staying in Durham.
Okay. Do you still stay in Durham, or do you live in Raleigh?
That's the next part of the story. I'm not the same person I was last year.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right, so you came to Durham, and then that transition from Durham to Raleigh, what happened in that time frame?
I had a relationship. Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
Drum roll, please.
Right. So you said that. So how did you get to the point where you were able to be in a relationship with somebody after everything that happened with your parents?
Oh, I had, man.
Because I feel like that story of that period of time where guys are hurt, whether it's by another person, whether it's by themselves or parents, whatever.
They tend to hurt other people.
Right, and I don't feel like that story is told much of what guys go through and how they're able to either heal themselves or be healed by somebody in order to get to that point where they're okay with being in a relationship again.
Yep. So when I first got down here, mind you, I ain't had no car, honestly. And this is something I'm trying to break my brother out of, but like, it's something about you being in Baltimore. You make a lot of things that are not okay. Things like going to jail consistently. That's supposed to be okay. That's supposed to be like, oh nah, bro, doing exactly what? Like, no,
Wow.
you feel me? Or not having a license, not having an ID,
Right.
or you know what I mean? Things not having a car. You don't think all these things that should be like regular people things that people, you know what I mean, are
Contributing citizens.
citizens, paying taxes or even receipt. Like all of this stuff is looked at as uppity.
Right.
You're barely a citizen at this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I was a part of that. I think I still have my old ID. The only two IDs that I had was a very, 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 very old ID when I was like in Pop Warner football.
Okay.
And I had my college ID.
Gotcha.
Those were my only real two forms of identification. One reason is because the whole MVA, which MVA is like, I think it's the same thing.
Like DMV?
Like
Yeah.
DMV. It's the same thing, you know what I mean? But you get a little bit of a hassle here down in North Carolina. Like you got to wait in the line. It might take you one morning.
Right.
It might take you one morning. No. You have to literally make a reservation in Baltimore to try to do any of that stuff. You know what I mean? And it's a hassle.
It's a hassle. So
and
you just be like, forget it.
Even when you have and that's something that they need to work on. That I feel as though that's a big part of the reason why it is how it is, because no one wants to go through that.
You think that's purposeful?
Do you think
To make the hassle so that people don't do it that are lower income or don't have transportation, and then that keeps the cycle?
The same cycle going, because they could have multiple locations, but they don't. They have like two, maybe two. I don't even think it's two. I think it really might be one. It might be two.
Right.
But it's not many places where people can go. You got an entire city of people trying to go to one place, maybe two places, to get all of these required identifications.
And they already got to go. They got to be at work.
And not to mention, it's in the hood.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, dang, like, you feel me? Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah, so a lot it's normalized to not have those things. So I didn't have none of that. I didn't have none of that. When I got down here, I got my entire act together. Like, it's unreal.
So then you got in this relationship. And that's when you were living in Durham. And then that went how?
It went like 4 years.
Okay.
And to this day, I still got mad love to a certain, like, you feel me? Like,
listen, I feel you.
Trying to twist my words. Oh, that was a nice interview you did. I actually seen it.
Right. Yeah. So 4 years, and you were in Durham the entire time, or had you moved from Durham to Raleigh during that time frame?
No, I didn't move to Raleigh until I was breaking away from
Got you.
that. You know what I mean?
So then it was another transition, like let me kind of be out of the situation physically as well.
Yeah. And the entire sense changing my environment.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I literally love Raleigh. Like, it's a lot of, it's things going on in Durham and everything, and it's a lot to tap into. Actually, Durham is the original Black Wall Street.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I just posted a picture of the joint, the Black Wall
The
Street
Black Wall
flame,
Street joint,
on my story the other day.
So it's a lot in Durham. I love Durham to this day. Durham is great, and Durham is a big part of me today. But now I'm learning Raleigh, and Raleigh is just amazing. I've really
Vibrant,
it's vibrant. I love Raleigh, man. Like, it's so much opportunity out here, and it's crazy because it's only 30 minutes away. But sometimes that 30 minutes is 30 minutes too much, and you don't want. Sometimes you don't feel like doing 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So, but me to just be in this environment consistently, I wake up happy every morning. Not to say I didn't before, but I do now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I like Raleigh.
Yeah, Raleigh's dope, man. I've been here since 05.
05?
Yeah, so
Word.
right after I got out of college, I was like, I'm not going back to Maysville. Hit my homeboy up. We got a spot, and so I've been here and I've been able to watch it grow, since then. But I didn't really understand what Raleigh was, you know what I'm saying, when I was at a younger age, because for me, Raleigh was always big, you know what I mean? And now I realize, it's Raleigh. It ain't New York, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't really have the mindset to understand what was going on around me in the city. Like, this place right here is like about to be way more than what it is,
right?
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Raleigh's cool, man. I feel like there's a lot of moving parts to Raleigh that are starting to connect. And so it's bringing a lot of attention, a lot of money, a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people.
And that's always good for a party promoter.
Oh, yeah. We getting into the party promoter part?
Yeah. We gonna jump into that because I seen that you're number 9.
Yes, sir.
On the party promoters list.
And that's really just a ranking. You know what I mean?
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm tunnel vision. I don't see any competition. Why? Because I'm not in it to compete.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm in it for self-fulfillment.
So let me ask you this though. So you're not in it for anything other than self-fulfillment, but do you want to be number 1?
Being number 1 is nice if it comes with a bag.
Okay. And I believe it comes with the bag.
Yeah.
Because we see Tim Boss sitting at number 1, and we definitely know.
Sitting there comfortably.
Right. We know. Right. We know Tim got the bag.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So when you got down here, how did you? So I do poetry shows. You know what I mean? That's mostly what I curate, and I just started that over the last 3 years. So I'm a baby in this game. You said you've been doing parties since you was in college at Morgan State.
Really? Oh, sorry.
No, you good.
I started I had the band. What would we say? 8 years ago. 8 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. So you've been in it for a minute. So was it hard ingratiating yourself with the entertainment scene down here in North Carolina? Coming from an entirely different state, or was it something where it's like, oh, now you just duplicate what you did here, and it just kind of hit the ground rolling?
It was new. It was different because it's hard going somewhere where no one knows you.
Right.
Making a name for yourself. It was a lot of times, and this is something I tell people all the time. I didn't know nobody. I literally knew no one coming down here. Nobody. You feel me? It was something that I had to create.
Right.
From ground zero. Like literally having to introduce myself to everybody in the room.
Gotcha.
Every place that I went. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it became a habit. Like even now, this is something that I'm gonna tell you about that now feels good. At that point, no one knew me. I walk around. I go places, no one knew me, you know what I mean? I had to do what I had to do to get where I need to be, right?
Right.
So now, what feels good to me is that a lot of time when I do the same thing that I did back then, which is introduce myself to majority appeal a lot of people, a lot of times they say, oh no, I follow you, or oh, I've heard of you.
Yeah, because when
you know what I mean?
me and you met,
Yeah.
you was like, yeah, I'm party boy. I'm like, oh yeah, I know
exactly.
who you are. I just never knew your face, but I know your name.
Yeah, exactly
Right.
like that. That's a good example because I was like, for real, and it happens a lot lately.
Right.
And it just shows it's a clear representation of, yo, you doing what you said you was going to do.
Yeah, because your name is further out than what you know.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's interesting because as soon as you said like nobody knew me, like I went, internally, like I was the same way. You know what I mean? Like all I used to do was hoop, watch movies, go bowling, whatever. I was in the house. I'm not a introvert, but I like to be in my own space. And so when I started my shows, I went to the open mic, City Soul, and walked in. Nobody knew who I was. Like not one person.
The open mics at Noir?
Yeah, the ones that was at Noir. And that's why I met Crystal. I met her that night. And once we linked, then it was just, feet to the pavement.
Feet to the pavement.
But I did the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Like had to create, like shake everybody's hand, introduce myself to everybody. And first people looking at you like, okay, who is this, who is this guy? But then now I have people come up to me like right after I met you, and we had that exchange. Like 5 minutes later, somebody come over and pushes me that I had talked to earlier and introduced myself to as Curtis. And a lot of people know me as SP in the poetry world. She came over and she pushed. She was like, "Yo, you SP the writer?" And I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's all one and the same. But she knew me from my brand,
right?
You know what I mean?
It feels good.
It feels good.
It feels good because
Yeah.
you work for that. Honestly, like we work for that acknowledgement at times. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it doesn't have to be all the time, but just every now and then to be like, okay, it's because they know you from your work. They know you from what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a big thing. So how long did it take you to get some traction?
It took maybe a year. It took a little year, like just pulling up to clubs or pulling
Right.
up to this event or that event. I think I have it broken down to a science.
Okay.
Like you don't have to necessarily be getting paid to do something to be somewhere.
Right.
Sometimes you roll the dice and you never know who you will meet.
Right.
Or what.
So you do gamble.
Yeah, I do. I do gamble. I do.
And look, I knew it was gonna come back around. I was gonna hit you with it earlier, but I'm like, nah, cause he gonna say it. He gonna say it so we start talking about promoting, and I don't be able to hit him with it.
Yeah, that okay. In that sense, I invest.
Right.
I can invest my time or I invest money into things that I feel as though I can get something out of. So yes, I gamble.
Right.
I just don't know how to gamble.
Right.
I don't know how to gamble.
Right. Gamble
Yeah.
in the sense of the definition term of.
Which is weird. Every time I say that, people be like, you know what I mean? Because not a lot of people in Baltimore growing, I shoot dice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Atlanta too, or you know what I mean? A lot of places like they shoot dice as like a regular thing. Like,
Right.
I still don't know how to shoot dice either.
Me neither.
I mean, do I? No,
I've seen people do it, but I've never shot dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a regular thing. And shooting dice, man. Like, hey, cool.
Right.
What I did used to do is, this is a funny story. When I was
Okay.
in like middle school, so you have a quarter, right?
Right.
So mind you, public transportation is big up north.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So whereas though it's not as big here, it's like you have buses.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
But up north you can get around.
Yeah, you can get around. That's the majority of the way people get around, mind you, because ain't nobody got no damn driver's license.
Right.
So the MTA, Maryland Transportation Association, which gives them more money, by the way, which might be why they do it, which is weird.
Right.
But
Systems.
yeah, systems, yeah. So I used to ride the subway. The subway is the underground train, sometimes overground, like,
Yep.
you know what I mean, train. And when we ride it, you know what I'm saying, say you got a quarter, and this is the wall. You throw the quarter, it's called pitch.
Right.
And the person that gets the quarter closest to the wall
Right.
gets everybody
I've
quarters.
seen that too.
You feel me?
Yep.
And I used to play that. I used to love it. Y'all ain't got no quarters? All right, forget it. Let's shoot dimes then.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Whatever, right?
Yeah, or dollars. People shoot dollars, like they flick the dollar and the person that get the closest to the thing get the dollar. Yeah, like,
That's crazy. People, listen, it's always a hustle.
nah, it is. It
know what I'm
is.
saying?
That
Everything's
was
a
my
hustle.
favorite one, though. I used to love that.
And so you said that you kind of got it down to a science, and so it took you about a year to really get some traction. During that year, were you locked in, or did you have those long periods of moments where you like, man, like this taking too long?
Oh, today. Now. All the time.
He said now.
All the time, man.
Yeah.
All the time. I always have a new goal in mind. I reach one goal, I'm headed for the next one, and I'll get impatient with getting to the next one. You know what I mean? At times I can be impatient, you know what I'm saying? I just be like, but I just be trusting God and what He has planned for me.
Right. You ever think about quitting?
All the time.
Do you?
A lot of times. I push myself every day to keep going, you know what I mean? And thank goodness that I do, because some days it'd be harder, but it's a fulfillment to me, because actually I took a whole, which is funny.
Yeah, I seen that now.
Yeah, he bugged me, look at him. He says, yeah,
right.
I like this. What y'all talking about? So I actually did compromise my goals and the career that I wanted to take on for an entire year, to not just compromise me not feeling fulfilled, but also compromising for said relationship, because it made that person uncomfortable to a certain extent. You know, the constant DMs and all that stuff, and my phone always going off, and I always had to explain, well, it's about this or it's about that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you have to be secure with yourself if you're going to be in a relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's something that we fall short on a lot.
Right.
We look for that fulfillment from the other person.
Yeah, the outsource.
The outsource, you know what I'm saying? So I put the mic down for a whole year, and I was not fulfilled. I felt as though, and there was people in my life that was telling me, like, you know that's not you, right? Like, or they asked me, so what you doing now? I was like, well, working at Food Line, and you know, it's all right now. I got this government thing,
Right.
And just hearing me explain that, they're just like, that doesn't sound like you, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's cool that you're doing that, but knowing your personality, that's not you. It's like, man, it is what it is. This is life, right?
So was there outside of your friends telling you that, was there something that happened that triggered you saying, let me pick the mic back up again? Or was it just a gradual thing where you knew, hey, I'm not fulfilled, other people see that I'm not fulfilled, let me hop back on this again?
That's a good question. I actually don't know. I can't remember what was the point in time that was just like, all right, let's get back on the horse. You know what I mean? I gotta look deep into
Right.
it. I don't know. It had to been something. I had to have been at an event or something like that, and I just happened to.
Right. Like, yo, I need to do this again.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it, because when I did, boy, I hit the ground running. I was like, look, let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it.
That's the only way too.
Yeah.
If you're gonna run.
Run.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't keep stopping. You ain't never going to get to the finish line.
Never.
You keep stopping. I told my girl that, shout out to Zena Styles, you feel me? I told her that, don't get discouraged. I mean, we all get discouraged, but don't stop.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. You know what I mean? Keep going, because that's what separates yourself from the rest of everybody else. You know what I mean? Because giving up is probably the easiest thing you can do.
And I wrote, I think I put it on Instagram not too long ago, I said giving up is the hardest thing I've ever done. And so I think there's two mindsets there where for some people, it can be the easiest thing. But when you know you're supposed to be doing something, if you quit, if you stop, it's hard, because it's going to eat at you.
It's going to eat at you every day, all the time.
Yeah, man, I was just having a conversation with one of my friends yesterday, and she was like, yo, like, you know, this is going on. She's an artist as well. And she's like, man, like, yo, like, everything just not where it's supposed to be right now. And she's like, you know, I know you went through some similar things recently, like, you know, you want things here, but this is happening, that's happening. She was like, yo, how do you stay motivated? And I was just like, yo, like, the goal don't change.
No, it don't.
Like, it don't matter if this income get cut or this person passes, or, like, no matter what happens, the goal is still the goal. The goal looking at you like, you coming for me or what?
Should I go grab something?
Right. You need a tissue, my nigga? And I know, like, maybe, what was it? It's probably been a couple months ago. I had said, and I actually posted, I was like, yo, I'm done setting goals on reach.
What does that mean? Elaborate.
So you know how we'll set a goal, and we'll allow certain life circumstances, things to happen, and we'll be like, those that'll be our excuse or our reason for not reaching that goal. And so I have a goal right now. Me and Crystal, we got a goal to fill the ballroom at the convention center for our next show in November. And so right when I said that, because that's what I'm thinking about, like, yo, we're gonna reach that goal. I'm gonna reach that goal. Crazy stuff just started happening. I'm talking about like the next day, things that if I really let it, I could be like, that happened, and I can justify why I don't reach that goal.
Right, exactly. We seek excuses sometimes. Or at least the unmotivated seek excuses to give reason why. Okay, well, if anyone asks, this is why it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
And it'll make sense. People are like, oh, I understand. But that's why I said it. I'm like, nah, like I'm done setting goals on
Based
reach,
off
yo.
reach.
Like,
That's deep.
I don't care what I gotta figure out. I don't care what I gotta do, how I gotta pivot.
If you want
The
it,
goal is still the goal.
the goal is still the same.
And so, you know, we had that conversation. And so I've really, you know, like you said, like you weren't the same person a couple of years, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm starting to realize certain things about myself that I knew, but now I'm getting deeper into it and realizing my power that like, like a catastrophe could happen, you know what I'm saying? But I can still figure this out, and I can still do it because I've done it before, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that's something that we all can look back on, the things that we've done before. Like you might have a party, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you ever have a dead party, but you might.
We've had.
He's like, most definitely.
It happens.
But you know, you have a dead party, but that don't stop you from throwing the next party, because you can think back to the party that you had that was the craziest joint. Like, yo, I did that one, so yeah, I can do that again. Like, this is the aberration, you know what I'm saying? Or this is a fluke, or yo, maybe I didn't do something properly, but then you tweak it and you go back to your science, and then you like, okay, bet, and then when you see all the all right, that's what it's supposed to be, you know what I mean? So I really like that. I like talking with people who are able to tap into themselves. So when you said that, you was like, yeah, I'm starting to understand me more. When you talk to people who understand themselves, then that also, like, from a personal standpoint, helps me understand me more, and then obviously understand who that person is. But it really it flows in a cycle of understanding.
Understanding.
Yeah.
Understanding is really important. Like, honestly, man, like, to piggyback off of what you said earlier, when you said setting goals on reach. With setting goals on reach, you tend to do things that are underneath you. That you're meant to be in this place, but because you feel as though you deserve this, you'll reach for that. Why? Because it's easy to obtain.
Yeah.
But if you reach for something all the way up there, you feel as though you're not gonna get it, you're gonna waste your time.
Right.
Prime example with radio, I felt as though I wanted to do it, but I felt as though no one would want me on the radio. You know what I mean? For a long time, that's what I believed, but I kept reaching for it. It's like,
Right.
it's never reaching it. So part of the person that had called me, that's actually the director of the station that I'm at right now, and we're good friends now.
Right.
But when I first went in there for like an interview, I felt like I didn't belong there. I felt like I didn't belong there. Like, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. They're gonna look at me and they're gonna be like, bruh, like, you ain't it. You know what I mean? And originally with the interview, that's exactly what it was. You know what I mean? We talked and we vibed, and you know what I mean? But I wasn't ready. Mentally. That's hence me being a different person than I was last year than I am this year. Because last year I was not ready. This year I'm in it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just gaining an understanding of yourself, because like a wise person once told me, you do change every year.
Right.
So you have to learn that person every year, just like the person that you're with has to learn you every year.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have to relearn. You got to keep relearning yourself, because you change gradually over time. You change, you learn more. You go through different experiences. You lose people.
Right.
So you got to continue to reevaluate who you are and understand who you are.
Dang, that's deep too, because while you're saying it, I'm sitting here thinking, like, I can pinpoint a couple of times in my life where I realized that I changed. But as I'm thinking back, like, just kind of going year by year, every couple of years, I'm like, man, like, I was changing and didn't even recognize it. And so I'm like, how much?
When did you recognize that you was changing?
Man, the first time I recognized I changed is when I went to college.
Oh yeah, that's a big change.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because not only was that a physical change, but I'm like, yo, I'm out of where I grew up at. And I had that mentality, like you was talking about with your tattoo earlier. Like, my mom told me, hey, you can't get no tattoos, no ear piercing. And so as soon as I graduated, that was the first thing I did. I went and got a tattoo, went and got my ears pierced.
First and foremost, if y'all need a tattoo, y'all need to come to Good Trip.
Yes, you need to come to Good Trip. Podcast sponsored by my man, Good Trip.
You feel me?
416 South McDowell Street, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got your black ink right here.
Right. So it was crazy because I remember when my mom, my dad, and they weren't together at the time, but they both took me and dropped me off at college. I remember when I closed the door to my dorm room and I heard the door down the hall that they walked out of the dorm, when I heard that close. And I literally was just like yelling out loud, like, I'm free.
It's a freedom. It is.
Right, but I thought I was grown. And so in my mind, I was free to do whatever the hell I wanted to do. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing.
In a sense.
Right,
In a
but
sense.
I'm thinking without consequence.
Yeah.
Right, and that wasn't it. And so that showed, like, I wasn't mature at all. You know what I'm saying? Because now I understand I can do whatever the hell I want to, but there's still consequences.
You understand the consequences.
Right.
So we all getting that in that season, to where as though we want to be an adult, but we are a child in every sense of the word.
All day
and
long.
A lot of the time, that's exactly when it happens, when we get on our own. You know what I mean? We feel like, even legally, you know what I mean? You feel as though everybody your whole life has been looking like, oh, they're going to change their child. You know what I mean? They give you the benefit of the doubt all the time, until one day you get in front of that judge and they look at you like you are a 30-year-old person, or someone that's well above their age or whatever.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and they just say, 20 years?
Yep, and that's
You know
a
what I
wrap.
mean? And that's a wrap, you know what I mean? Or they really, like, age, I'm telling you, bro, like, that's a big changer. Like, I remember I got off of a lot of stuff. Like, I'm gonna give you another story. When I was 16, I was with my homeboys. We was out in like, okay, in Baltimore, you got the county, you got the city, you got the county where it's a little bit nicer.
Right, Towson, all that.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm familiar.
Yeah. So all that, mind you, it's switched up now. I don't know. I think they re-gentrified the city to where as though they're trying to make the county the city, but they say the county, it's never gonna happen. You can't get all the people out of there.
Right.
So it's like, so basically it's back then, it was supposed to be nicer or whatever. It actually wasn't that far from my grandmother's spot. So basically we was just out there, it was at the party, we was out there kicking it. Police car pulls up with their lights on. And my homeboy says, yo, I got something on me. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? Mind you, I was a little bit mixed in with things, but really not that much, because mind you, I had a support system.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was just like, if I was in a situation, it was because of the people I was around, not because of literally the things that I felt the need that I needed to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, I got something on me. I'm like, what? It's like, yo, on 3 we about to break. I'm like, hold.
On 3?
Hey, I'm like, hold. You about to do what?
Oh, man.
But then it was evident that was actually the plan, because when they hop out, all I remember hearing is tasers, zzz, like that. First of all, why is that the first thing you pulling out?
Right.
That's first.
Right.
And this is crazy because I'm looking at I think that's not Trayvon Martin, but I thought I had seen a Trayvon Martin painting, but this was right around the time that the Trayvon Martin situation had happened.
Right.
So we are like, and mind you, that was like the first instance of something being publicized of, young black man
Right.
being killed, police brutality. You know what I mean? Like, that was really the first big
So it's top of mind.
Is that Trayvon Martin? That's not Trayvon Martin.
No.
I don't know. I just see everybody with a hoodie, and he's like the hoodie
Right.
guy. You know what I mean? So that was around that time. So I'm like, yo, this could be one of them situations. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, zip. All right, at this point, we're breaking. That was like 3. We're breaking, right? Now, we're running. Now, I done ran from the police before, kind of, but not really. Like, I really didn't need too many reasons to have to run from the police.
Right.
I don't give them much reason. You know what I mean? So unless it's like, a fight at the school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But not even really running from the police because they're not even after you at that point.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in that instance, yes, because for whatever reason they had been chasing. So boom, we breaking. And they running behind us. And long story short, we hopping gates and everything. I ended up getting tased, but adrenaline pumping, so I don't even phase. One of the taser prongs hit the gate that I jumped over, and the other one hit me right here. I think I still got them up. So hopping gates, just going. So long story short, I ended up getting caught. I get caught because by the time we get across the street, it was just raining. I'm going up a hill. Mind you, I have one taser prong in me. I don't even know it. And I end up slipping going up the hill. Cop right behind me. He hits me. He drives me. I'm arrested.
Right.
So, long story short, with that whole situation, you would think as an adult you would just be charged just for resisting arrest or whatever.
Oh, no, they gonna tack on.
Yeah, they would do all that. But mind you, they were in the wrong anyway because they thought we were someone else. So apparently a store had got robbed or something like that, and we fit the description. And I really feel like that was bullshit. I don't even think the police store was robbed, but maybe it was. I don't know.
Right.
But that was the story we were given. So, I mean, I was young. I ended up getting off. They ended up taking us like home. You know what I mean? I was taken home after being arrested or whatever. You feel me? But I feel as though if I was an adult or if I was older, even 18 or 19 or something like that, they'd have went on and took me down.
It'd have been a wrap.
And processed me, and I'd have just been. But it's so many situations, and I involve God with that a lot of times too, because it's depending on who you're dealing with as well. There's some people that don't care about none of that.
Right.
They're like, nah, you're a young criminal. You're going to jail now, so I ain't got to worry about you later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's wild. I've never run from the cops.
Never? Gotta try it sometime. Let's go do some shit.
Never run from the cops,
I would
man.
not lie. It is like
It's an experience, right?
It is, but it's not funny.
Yeah,
if you get caught.
I'm sure. I can imagine. So, man, in the beginning, I asked you, who do you think you are? Mm-hmm. Now I'm gonna ask you, who do you think you will be?
Ooh, I was just watching the Soulja Boy versus Bow Wow versus, right?
Okay.
That was yesterday. Mind you, dope. That was dope.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just seeing the stuff that I grew up on. Just,
Yeah.
You.
Yep.
How about the bed? Put my swag on. All that, like, and then you got the me home to a Bow Wow.
Right.
So it was nice. I liked it. But I was looking, and when I look at stuff like that, I just see myself in it. Do you know what I mean? Like even the DJ or if someone is hosting a big thing. Like mind you, you say, where do I see myself being? Darn it. It's over there. 5 seconds.
All right. What you pulling out over there?
Little Sean.
Ah, okay. Flyer.
So, this right here is Kicks Fest. Now, I don't know. You said you've been in Raleigh a long time.
Right, I've been in Raleigh for a minute.
So, this is at the Red Hat Amphitheater.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a concert, and I'm hosting it. that's been one of my goals. To host a really, like when I say, I really mean a concert, like a concert.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I've done a few that get close to that.
Right.
But I think this is just me before going into it. I think this might be one of the biggest stages.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
now,
cause Red Hat hold a few thousand.
yeah,
I think they hold. I think when I checked in, it's like about somewhere between
Mm-hmm.
7,000 people.
yep.
Yeah, that's a concert.
That's a concert, you know what I mean?
That's
and
what's
when
good.
little things like this happen, I feel as though I'm getting closer and closer to where I'm trying to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to get to the point where I'm doing that, but I'm also running things behind the scenes as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know where I'm headed, but I know what the goal is.
Right.
And that goal is to be world renowned.
World renowned.
Yep.
That's what's good. Well, man, look, I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Thank
Look, getting up early for me.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean?
I'm hoping this is going to break a cycle of me just being lazy and not waking up.
Hey, and if it does, and that makes you more productive, then if nothing else, I was a part of that.
Yes.
And that, that's a good thing. You know what I mean?
I owe you some Waffle House.
Listen.
Yeah, I'll just pull up on you one day like, hey, bro.
And I'm going to hold you to it.
Grits or hash brown?
Grits, because I'm from the South. And I like my waffle light.
Light, okay. So
Eggs well.
Eggs well done. It's crazy. I should have told him cheese.
Look, and I thought about it, but then I know so many people lactose intolerant and stuff, so I was like, let me do bare minimum.
I might be headed there. I don't know.
Listen, it happens, yo. It happens. But definitely, man, I appreciate you being on.
Most definitely.
Yo, y'all tune in to the next joint. Who do you think you are with SP? And we out.
It's Party Boy. Let's go.